Davengers. West Coast Davengers.
There's only one mantra that you all need to know. That's that one over there. See Todd, buy Todd.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of West Coast Avengers. Your comic guy. I don't know. You are here to see my top 10 Todd McFarlane covers, so let's get to it right now. So it seems like today would be a great day to explore what I consider to be the 10 best Todd McFarlane covers. I'm going to make a rule, and then I'm immediately going to tell you that I broke it. The couple of rules that I've got here. One, no homage covers. Even if it's Todd homaging himself, I'm taking those out, because what I'm trying to illustrate here is I want to show off the brilliance of Todd's ideas as well as the artistry. So no homage covers, and even if he's homaging himself, then if I'm going to pick one of those covers, it's going to be the original. The other rule that I've got, it's got to be a comic book. So immediately, eliminating things like Malibu Sun and eliminating things like Wizard and these magazine or fanzines or whatever. And then the final rule is, this is the one that I broke. The covers can only be Todd inking himself. And, I had to break it. I had to. And you'll understand why. But right off the bat, let's talk about two honorable mentions, because I didn't pick a Spawn one. It is painted over by Ken Stacy. But and then I'm going to crack this open because there's a couple of covers in here that I want to show off the original art as well. But honorable mention comes Spawn 10, Todd doing the black and white with some colors by Steve Olive. Him putting Cerebus on the cover. Dave Sim wrote the book, so I just want to show it off because it's just very unique. That's a runner-up for me, as well as this Spawn cover, because it's simplistic, and sometimes simple is very effective. Spawn 21, just love this. It's different, and it stood out to me. But those are just honorable mentions. So here's number 10. We're going to do this going from 10 to 1. Marvel Tales number 236. I almost picked 235 because it has more X-Men on it. But the reason why I like this is it highlights Spidey, obviously, and Wolvie, and Storm. And Storm's in a great pose. She's kind of like levitating just slightly off the ground. There's some great smoke, and Wolverine's claws out. Spidey is in one of those poses that no human being could ever really do. But it works. It's effective. These were reprints of old Spider-Man books. I bought this book because of this cover. And that's exactly what a cover is supposed to do. I would have picked every cover that McFarlane did with Wolverine on it, but, it's only 10 books. Okay, another one. This is number 9. This really tells a story to me. It was the final chapter of the assassination plot. The only time that Todd put Red Skull on the cover. At a young age, I thought this was cool for just the fact that it's a really cool cover. And then as an older age, more educated and less enthralled with the American government, it also speaks words to me. Plus, you get the corner box right there with the skull, the red skull. And, this is a big one for me. This goes back to my childhood. This might have been one of the first 4 or 5 McFarlane books I had ever gotten. 1989. So I saw this at a very young age. So the thing about a cover like this, you want to open the book. You want to know what happened. One of the couple of Hulk covers, and 345. Hulk interacting with the trade dress like that, it really sings for me. The purple. This also became the cover of Ground Zero trade paperback, which is where this story comes to a close. Look how massive the Hulk is. Like, this really sells the size of the Hulk, and that's what McFarlane does really well with the Hulk. He always sells the size, the massiveness. So this is number 8, Hulk 345. And speaking of the Hulk, another classic one. We've got Amazing Spider-Man number 328. All right, so here is the original art for 328, famously sold for a couple $100,000. This original art, but once again, like, this is iconic for for my childhood and a lot of the people that grew up reading Amazing Spider-Man in this era, but it's selling a different way. It's selling he's selling this cosmic strength that Spidey has, and a great scene where he punches Hulk into orbit. But there's just so much detail on here, like his rubble on the printed cover. The Hulk's tongue is green, but just, another one where he interacts with the trade dress this time. It's that, but not just the trade dress. It's the corner box there. It's the little banner that's supposed to be going right here, diagonally across the cover. And you get the corner box with the Hulk. Like, this is why we wanted to buy these books when we first saw what they look like. How do you see this and say, nah, I don't want to pick this book up? The Hulk, a movable object, but Cosmic Spidey finds a way to do it. So that's rooted in my memory, and that's cover number 7, just in case you're keeping count. Okay, so number 6. Sometimes this is my favorite. This is my absolute favorite. This sometimes sits there when somebody asks me, "Oh, what's your favorite McFarlane Amazing Spider-Man cover?" And I'll say 311, and not just because I love 311, but I love Mysterio. I think Mysterio is one of the coolest Spider-Man villains because of his look, because of what he does. It's very rooted in movies and stuff like that, and I just love it where Todd put the number of spiders, which is 4, and you need to find them. So let's look at the original art. You can see the paste ups and all that, but we got one spider here, we got one spider here, we got one spider here, and then one spider here. All 4 spiders are found in the cuff pieces of Mysterio's costume. You've got Spider-Man, and Todd's obviously known for his hands, like the weirdness in the hands, and they're kind of gross, but Spidey looks like a spider here in the reflection of the dome. And I think it actually, the way that they color it in green actually looks pretty cool. Like, I think the finished cover might be a little bit better than the original art. That's just my personal opinion. And then, so one thing I love about Todd, and something that I didn't realize until later in life, that I was looking more at Ditko, but his smoke is an homage to Ditko's curling smoke. And if you look at Amazing Spider-Man, the first appearance of Mysterio, if you look at that book, especially the cover, the way kind of has that piece here with Mysterio and the smoke, that's Ditko, that's his signature. That was one of Ditko's signatures. And clearly Todd is influenced by Ditko. Who isn't when it comes to drawing Spider-Man? But yeah, this is going to be number 6. So now number 5, you're going to tell me, Dave, you're crazy. How do you put this at number 5? Why is this not in the top 3? It's absolutely iconic. If you're new here, like, comment, subscribe. The things that help this show grow that I need from you. Just recently, I self-published, along with my friend Andrew, The Many Faces of Jack Kirby. It is a zine dedicated to, well, yes, the faces of Jack Kirby. It is $30, and a portion of the proceeds go to the Jack Kirby Museum and Research Center. You can message me through my website, West Coast Davengers, to order a copy, or hit me up on Instagram. All those links are in the description below. I have a podcast called Direct Edition. It is a little bit of everything I love, plus a lot of things that you won't find here on this channel. You can find that at directeditionpodcast.com, or also find the links in the description below. But 5's not that bad. We've got Amazing Spider-Man 316, the first full cover appearance of Venom. Obviously 315 had the little head there. Admirable, another great cover is this 315. As you saw, or maybe you didn't, in my interview with Todd, we talked about the way that Katsuhiro Otomo and Akira influenced the way he did things. Now, look at the speed lines here. This is what he's talking about, these speed lines on the cover. And it's just, there's no background. It's speed lines because you want to feel the rush of Venom coming in for the kill. Now we got the hand. And look, it's done on DC Comics paper. But you want to feel the rush of the hulking menace of Venom. And I think one of the reasons why I really gravitate towards some of these villain covers is because Todd always drew villains as kind of a hulking menace. The Hulk, obviously, but Venom, even Mysterio, is the prime real estate of that cover that we just looked at. This is my original copy. Obviously got it signed by Todd. But let's look at the original art. You got it on DC Comics paper. Production, lots of felt tip pen. Please be careful. Thanks. And you could just see, like, half of this drawing is background is speed lines, and then the rest of it's rubble and Spider-Man down for the count. You get this great corner box too, so you get double the Venom, you get open mouth Venom, and you get teethy Venom. I mean, what else could you want to do to sell what becomes like the biggest Spider-Man villain from 1989 going forward? You want him to look like he could take Spidey out. And this is, sure, any given day, I could put this as the greatest Todd McFarlane cover. As some of you know, if you're watching my videos, on the wall over there, I have the screen print of it. For all time, like, 5 is fine. This top 5 is really tough. There's one real big surprise in there that I think maybe the ones who are keen to my opinions on Todd might know. But all right, so that's number 5. So we're going to number 4. And with number 4 comes great responsibility, right? Isn't that the saying? 4, I'm going to talk about how iconic it is. At the time of it coming out, I don't know if we'd ever seen Spider-Man like this. And I'm talking about Spider-Man number 1. The adjectiveless book that Todd was writing and drawing, inking himself on the cover, the question mark. Obviously, can you guess how many spiders there are? I'm not even going to try, but I think it's somewhere in the 30s. This stands out for so many reasons, right? It stands out for the iconicness. It stands out for the fact that it wasn't done before. And it felt fresh. In 1990, it reinvented Spider-Man. Like, his Amazing Spider-Man run is fantastic. But this cover reinvented the character in a visual sense. And then the book was great. I love Torment. I don't have any problems with Torment. The original art, this cover is probably worth, I would say, somewhere around the $2 million mark, or maybe 1.5, maybe a little more, 3, maybe 5. It's simple in a way. It's Spider-Man on a giant web with a bunch of spiders around him. But is it? And there's probably a lot of older Spider-Man purists that are like, oh, this ruined Spider-Man. This took the wholesome Spider-Man and made him dark. Well, look, having the same character be a Boy Scout for 60 years, or at that time, I guess it was, a little less than 30, it's kind of boring, And this to me was refreshing. And I'm 11 years old when this comes out. Perfect age to see this. And, obviously there's the color variants, there's the silver, there's the gold, there's all that stuff, but I go with the OG. And can you think of anything like more iconic when it comes to Spider-Man and Todd McFarlane? Now, a lot of you are probably wondering, why has Dave not shown us the cover to ASM 300 or 301? Those are iconic covers, but as art, it's boring. It's absolutely boring. Like, cool, he's swinging in the black suit, or 301, cool, he's swinging in the red and blue, but it's kind of boring. I don't even put that in my top 15 at all. Great books. Covers, they're iconic. You collectors out there with, like, everybody's like, oh, it's so good, but is it really? No, but I'll tell you what is, and that's number 3, which is my favorite Amazing Spider-Man cover, issue number 313. You want to sell me a villain? Sure, you could sell him like Venom, or you could sell him like the Lizard. You want me to think that Spider-Man is not making it out of this comic alive? You give me that. Like, as good as 316 is, as cool as Venom is, the Lizard looks more terrifying. And there's a little blood on the cover, just like the 316. This was like, I feel like this might have been him testing the waters to see if he could put blood on 316. Because as far as I can remember, there's nothing like this until this issue. Costumes torn up. You got little Spidey sausage fingers. You got the claws. Just that. So let's take a look at the original art. That's cross-hatching. I originally might have thought that was Zipatone, but that's cross-hatching. And then he does this to kind of like, it's not as accentuated on here. It is a little bit, but it sells it more on the original art. Like his way of drawing Lizard kind of looks like a cat and a lizard. You kind of get I just see cat eyes. So he was putting the spider number on this issue too. There's 2 spiders in here, which I don't think I've ever looked for. But let's see if we could find them on the fly here. Okay, there's one. There's the other. 2 spiders. But this is my favorite. Like, I know I go back and forth between 311, 316, but 313 has kind of always been the one that like really comes to mind when I think about like what my favorite Todd McFarlane Amazing Spider-Man cover is. Now I'm giving away the ghost a little bit. I'm giving it up. But we are going to look at one comic cover that is not in this book for probably obvious reasons you might have figured out. But it is the most iconic Batman cover of my lifetime, and that would be Batman 423. I was born in 1979, so I was born after these 2 covers. But when we think about iconic Batman covers, they really have to sell the darkness. And a lot of people are going to say, well, Batman never used to be dark. Well, let's talk about Neil Adams for a second, because these are pretty dark covers, and that's an homage to, I forget the number. That's a pretty dark cover by Neil Adams. And so is this. And so is the Frank Miller, first Dark Knight, and actually all the Dark Knight. So we've got to go a little bit darker to make an iconic Batman cover, and 423 does it. And famously, Todd talks about how this was actually kind of like a deadline crunch, and he whipped it up pretty quickly, but his brain just went to the right place. Full moon, zine, Jim Rugg, full moon, right? Bat, big cape. Granted, Batman's pretty much about to fall off that cliff, but she'll be fine. And some other famous things about the cover is that they never colored in the moon on this part, so it's red, and this is white here. That's okay, mistakes happen. This cover just really sells everything you want about the Batman, and I can't say much else about this. I remember seeing this one as a kid. I have my original copy signed by Todd and Jim Starlin, and it was very effective, and I was always a big Batman fan, and this sells Batman. I buy this book. And look who else is involved in this. You got Jim Starlin and Dave Cockrum. This is no slouch of a comic. So that's number 2. And I think you can kind of guess the greatest Todd McFarlane cover of all time is. And I think the reason why you can guess it is like you're probably yelling at your screen right now. Where is this book? And that book in question is, of course, The Incredible Hulk 340, the iconic Wolverine, claws out, Hulk in the reflection of the claws, mouths open, screaming at each other, ready to do battle. And boy, oh boy, this is not just a great cover, but this book is probably my favorite Todd McFarlane book interior-wise as well. Maybe 316 kind of beats that, but this is a knockdown, drag-out fight that takes place over the course of kind of 2 separate parts in this book. But the cover, and this is where I broke my own rule, because Bob Wyacek is the inker of this. But out of all of the inkers that Todd has ever had, and he's had a bunch, Wyacek on this cover nails it. He gets the lines, he gets the ticks, he gets the faces. Like, he knows exactly what is required. And if you look at the non-colored, the original cover, the original art is actually better, because you get more of that anger in the brow and in the eyes. So there's more lines here. The colored version is still classic with the trade dress, this great trade dress. But Wyacek and McFarlane without the colors on the cover really sings some kind of production trick for Hulk's reflection. So maybe it's, they're talking about the shine. I'm not sure. So famously, Todd gave this to Peter David. But yeah, I mean, I grew up before I was even a Spider-Man fan, before I was a Batman fan, before I was a Spawn fan, I was a diehard Wolverine fan. And I remember seeing this. I don't think I saw this when it came out, but I saw it very soon after. And I've had a copy of this book in one way, shape, or form since I was probably 12 or 13 years old. I don't think Wolverine's ever been depicted more ferocious. I don't think Hulk has ever looked as ready to rumble. And I think it is the pinnacle of Todd's cover career thus far. I mean, he's had some great covers, obviously homaging himself and stuff like that, but nobody had done. I mean, there have been people that have done things that, like reflections, playing with reflections is great, but this really sets the bar right here. And if you want to see a little more of this and me talk about this specific book, I was on my friend Read Your Comics, Daryl. I was on his channel earlier this year, and we did a long episode talking about this. I will throw that link in the description below, but you should take a look at it because we really go deep into this book, and I'm really proud of what we did on that episode. And some of the well, friends, there's me doing the top 10 Todd McFarlane covers. So now you've got your top 10 list, and you can click it and you can like and follow and do all that good stuff. But I know a lot of these books are expensive, but you know what I say? See Todd, buy Todd.
Whoa. Oh, man. Is this the Sharper Image Tom McFearless hot covers? Oh, man. Well, before he gets back, I might as well show you my favorite McFearless covers. Qzars, man. And Vegetable Guys with the turtles, man. And don't forget Diamond Storm. That's like that guy from the House of the Dragons, man. And my favorite Spasms, man. Whoa, Tom McFearless, Sharper Image. All right, I'm Comic Team. Whoa, man, hot cover.
Dave, don't ever let anybody see that.